What's going on, guys? This is Somnath Gowder from Future Coders. Today we are going to be building this YouTube clone using just HTML and CSS. We will be using Flexbox and Google font icons in this project. Before we start, please make sure that you subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. And also don't forget to leave a like on this video. Okay, now let's start by opening up our Visual Studio. I have already created a folder for this project, so I will be importing that folder. Next, we are going to need two files. One is index.html, and we are also going to need a style sheet. So I am going to create a styles.css. Inside of index.html, let's define the basic structure of HTML by saying doc and pressing enter. It will automatically generate the basic structure of HTML. We will be using a extension called live server. Please make sure that you have installed it. It is a very useful extension. Sorry, live server. It's live server. Please make sure you install it. So after installing, all you have to do is right click on this index.html and open with live server. It is going to open it in a browser. One advantage of this is you don't have to refresh every time you make a save. It is going to automatically refresh on every save you make. For example, if I change this title to YouTube UI clone and hits and Control S, or you can save here save, it is automatically it is going to automatically refresh and make changes. So now let's make necessary imports that are required. As I mentioned earlier, that we will be using Google font icons, so let's import that first. Let's head over to, let's make it a little bit bigger. So let's head over to let's search for fonts, Google icons. Click on the first link. These are all the icons that Google Fonts is providing. So in order to use those, all we have to do is head over to developer guide. Everything is written in a document. All we have to do is there is a small import link. All you have to do is copy this link and paste it inside the head section. I will be pasting it over here. Okay, we are also going to link this styles.css, of course. So let's link that link. That's called styles.css. Let's save. Okay, adding comments is a good practice, so I'll be adding comments throughout this project. Okay, so let's add a comment here saying Google font icons. Okay, now let's start by designing the header section of our project. Let's head over to our final version. Let's make this a little bit bigger. So first we will be designing the header section, and after designing the header section we will be designing this sidebar section, and then we will be designing this video section. So in order to design the header section, we will be splitting the header section into three parts. One is going to header left, and one division is going to be for this search section, and another is going to be for this icon section. So let's start by designing the header section. So let's head over to the project. Let's make this a little bit smaller. Okay, so now let's start by designing the header. we are going to create a div tag with the class name of header. Okay, now we are going to split. Okay, let's remove this, sorry for this. Okay, so now let's divide it into three sections. First one is going to be header left. Inside of this header left, we are going to be using as you can see in the final version, there is a menu icon, so we will be importing that from the Google Fonts icons. Okay, let's head over there. Let's head over to icons. So I will be searching here for menu. This is the one that we will be using. No, that is not the one. We will be using the filled version. Okay, this is the one that we will be using. All you have to do in order to use this, all you have to do is we have to define this class material icons, and we have to say menu here. Instead of using span tag, we will be using I tag in our project. So that's because span in our project span we are using it for other purpose, so we will be using I tag to import the icons. So let's define an let's import this menu icon. Let's define an I. Let's define it like this, I with the class name of material icons. Inside of this here, we all have to do is we have to say menu. Let's save. Now let's have a look. As you can see, we have successfully imported the icon. Next, after that we will be having a YouTube logo. So let's import that to img, and the source is going to be YouTube logo, which I got from the Google Images. You can search in Google Images, or you can type this link. Okay, let's save. Okay, that's it for the header left. Now let's go for the header search. Let's make a div with class name of header search. This is the second section of the header part, remember. So we will define we are going to need a search and a search button, right? So we are going to define a form. There is not going to be an action since we will be designing only the UI section. So let's say inside of this form we will be using input with the type of text and placeholder saying search. Okay, now we are going to need a button. Inside of this we will be using a search icon. So let's head over to icon section from Google Fonts. So we will be using, let's search for search. So we will be using the search icon. So we have to say search here. So let's inside of this here, let's define an I tag with the class name material icons. Inside of I tag we all have to say search. Let's save this and check. Okay, now we got the search icon. So next part, it is going to be the third division of the header section, which is going to contain all those icons. So let's define those. So let's make a section saying div with the class name of header. Let's make it icons, since it is going to contain all the icons. Inside of here we are going to be using the first icon that we will be using, the video icon. Let's search for video here. So we will be using this one. So we have to say video cam. So let's define an I tag with the class name of material icons. Inside of this here, all I have to say is video cam. Okay, we will be using 4 of these icons, so let's copy paste this 3 more times. Okay, so next icon that we are going to need is this apps icon, so let's search for that apps. Okay, we will be using this. All you have to say is apps. Next we will be using a bell icon, maybe a notification icon. Let's search for that. Yeah, we will be using this. All you have to say is notifications over here. Shit. Okay, let's type that over here. Okay, next we will be using an account circle over here. Okay, let's search for that account circle. All you have to say is account circle. Okay, now let's save and check. Okay, now we have successfully imported all the icons and we have finished defining the structure of header section. So now let's style this. Before that, let's add some comments over here for indicating this is where the header starts and this is where the header ends. So let's add some comments. Header starts here, starts, and this is where the header ends. So let's turn them into comments. For turning comments, all you have to do is there is one shortcut, control /. Here also control plus /. Okay. Now let's start by styling this header section. We will be using a custom font that is Roboto. That's the one YouTube uses in their website. So let's import that first. Let's head over to Google Fonts. Let's search for Roboto. We will be using the 300. Let's also get the 400 and also I think 700. Okay, let's get the code. We will be using import code, so let's use this. Let's copy this and paste it over here. We are not going to be need the style tag. Let's remove that. Okay, let's save. Okay, now before we start styling, there is some cleanup process that we have to do. Let's remove the default margin that is being applied by the browser by targeting everything, and let's set the margin to 0 and padding to 0. Let's save. Okay, now also set the box sizing to border box. So now let's target the body to set the font family. Body. Now let's set the font family to Roboto, one that we have imported. Roboto. If Roboto fails to load, then in that case we will be using sans serif. Okay, so let's also add some comments over here for saying this is the style code related to header. So let's write some comment here. Same goes to turn this into comment, same goes like this, control /. Okay, so now let's target the material icons. As you can see, these are all the black looking black. What we need if you look in the final version, they are little bit gray, so let's turn them. As you might have observed, they use a class name called material icons, so let's target that. Okay, now let's set the color to RGB. Let's set that 96. As you can see, they have turned a little bit gray. Okay, now let's target the header, this main header, which is containing these three sections: header left, header search, and header icons. Let's target that. Okay, now let's say display flex. Watch what happens and when I say display flex. As you can see, everything is coming in one row. Okay, now let's say justify content, space between. let's hit let's hit save. Okay, now let's align items to the center, and we are also going to set the height to 70 pixels and some padding inside to 15 pixels. And now let's save. Okay, so now let's target the first section of our project, that is header left. So now let's target that. We will be targeting this header left. Okay, let's also try display flex and also say align items to the center. Okay, now let's target that image that is inside of this header left. We are going to target the image that is inside of the header left, so img. We are going to set the width to 100 pixels and margin to the left of 15 pixels. Now let's save. Okay, now let's target those icons which are present inside the header by saying header and those icons. Let's set the padding to 0 to the top and bottom and 7 to left and right. 0 to 0 pixels and 7 pixels, and cursor to the pointer. So when we hover on it, it turns the cursor into pointer. Let's save and check. As you can see, when I hover on this, the cursor turns to pointer with all the icons. Okay, now let's target the form that is present inside the header search. This form that is present inside the header search. So now let's target that header search, and we are going to target the form. Let's set the border to 1 pixels, solid color, this color, and height to 35 pixels. Let's save this and check. Okay, now let's set the margin to 0 and also set the padding to 0. Let's also say display of flex. Now let's save. Okay, now let's target the input field that is present inside the header search. Input field, I'm going to say width to 500 pixels. Okay, let's also set the padding to 10 pixels, and let's set the margin to 0. Let's also set the border radius to 0, and let's also set the border to none. Let's save. Okay, now let's target the button that is present inside the header search. Let's target the button. Let's set the padding to 0 and margin also to 0. Let's set the height to 100%, and we are going to say border none. Let's save. Okay, let's also say border radius to 0. Now we have completed styling the header section of our project. Okay, now let's design the sidebar section. Let's head over to our final version. We will be splitting this main body into two sections. One is for the sidebar and one is going to be for video section. That is, this whole section is going to be main body, and we will be splitting it into two parts. One is going to be sidebar and another is going to be this video section. Okay, now let's start by making a main body section. Let's head over to index.html. Now let's add some comments over here saying main body starts. Let's also make another comment saying main body ends. Okay, so now let's turn them into comments. Let's define the main body by saying div with a class name of main body. Inside of this main body, as I mentioned, we are going to have two sections. One is sidebar and there is video section. So now let's start by designing the sidebar section. So now let's say div. Let's define a div with a class name sidebar. Inside of this sidebar, we are going to have these categories. So let's define another div by saying sidebar with a class name sidebar categories. Okay, now let's make another div for each sidebar category. You will get to know what we are doing here in a while. Let's set the sidebar category. This is the container that is going to hold all the categories, and this is a single category. Okay, now let's inside of this category we are going to have an icon. Let's go head over to icons section. Let's import the home, that is this icon. We will be using this one. Okay, all you have to say is home. Okay, now let's define an I tag with the class name of, as you might have guessed, material icons, and let's say home. And also we are going to say we are going to use a span tag to say home. Now let's save and check. This is what we get. Okay, like this we are going to have multiple categories. So now let's define another one. So let's copy this. As you can see, we have three over here and 5 over here. So let's do this first. Let's copy paste this 2 more times. So the second icon that we are going to be using is this fire icon. That is, let's search for over here fire. We will be using this one, local fire department. All you have to say is local fire department. Let's say that over here, local underscore fire department, and here we are going to say trending. Let's save. Okay, now another one, third one that we are going to use is this icon, subscriptions. So let's search over here, subscriptions. Okay, let's use this subscriptions. All you have to say is subscriptions. The same thing. And here also subscriptions. Let's say okay. After this we are going to have an, I think, an horizontal line. Yeah, horizontal rule. Let's define that too. We are going to have an horizontal rule. Okay, after that we are going to have another 5 sets. So let's copy paste the same categories. Okay, one more time. And currently we have only 3, so let's also copy paste these 2 more times. Okay, so now let's add those icons. The first icon that we will be using is this library add check. Okay, this is the import code for that. Let's wait. Okay, this is the import code for that, and it is going to say library. And the next is going to be history. Let's import that icon to history. Here also we are going to say history. So the next one is going to be play arrow. It's going to say your videos. Next one is going to be watch later icon. And the last one is going to be thumbs up icon. Okay, this is going to say liked videos. Now let's save and check. Okay, this is what we get. And we also forgot to add some comments over here, and this is getting little bit confusing over here. So let's add some comments over here first. This is where the sidebar starts. Let's turn this into comment, and this is where the sidebar ends. As you can see, it's already getting confused over here. Sidebar ends. This is why comments are very important. Okay, now let's say okay. Now let's style this a bit, as it is looking very ugly. So let's head over to our styles.css. Okay, now let's also add comment over here first by saying this is style for main body. Let's turn this into comment first. Okay, for the main body we are going, as I mentioned, we are going to split this into 2 sections. That means we are going to have 2 containers. We already have a sidebar, and we are also going to create another div with the class name of videos. So if we say display flex, and they will sit on row wise. So we are going to say, let's clean this up first. Only we are going to say, let's target that main body. Let's set the height to 100 view height minus 70 pixels. Did I do it right? 100 view height. Yeah, now it's right. 70 pixels. And also set the display flex. It is not going to make sense now. It is going to make sense later when we define the video section. It is going to appear over here. Okay, so now let's also say overflow hidden. Okay, now this is all for the main body. So now let's style the sidebar. Let's add some comments over here. Sidebar. Okay, now let's target that sidebar. I'm going to say height to 100%. Let's set the width to 230 pixels. Let's save and check. Okay, now also set the background color to white. Let's say overflow Y. scroll. Okay, now let's target that sidebar categories which is holding all of those categories. Let's target that sidebar categories. Let's set the width to 100% and let's set the display to flex. Okay, and we are going to say flex direction to column, and we are going to say margin bottom to 15 pixels. Let's also set the margin bottom to 15 pixels. Let's save. Okay, now let's target each individual sidebar category, that is this one. All of these are having the same class name, so let's target those individual categories. Let's say display flex. Let's say align items to the center. Let's set the padding to 12 pixels and 25 pixels. Good. Now let's target those span that are present inside those sidebar category. So now let's target those span. We are going to say margin to the left 15 pixels. That's great. So when I hover on this, I want the color to change, right? So let's say when we hover on this sidebar category, it is hover, I want the background to change to this color, that is little bit grayish color, and I also want the cursor to turn into pointer. Let's save and check. As you can see, when I hover on this, the color is changing. So you might also observe that this very ugly looking scroll bar is appearing. In order to hide those, there is a code which we have to use. That code is by saying sidebar WebKit scroll bar and display none and hit save, and that ugly looking scroll bar is going to disappear. So now let's target this horizontal rule to make it look a little bit nicer. So let's set the height to 1 pixels. Let's set the background color to this grayish color, same color. Okay, now let's also set the border to none. Let's save and check. Okay, now we have finished styling or building our sidebar section. So now let's start designing the video section. Let's head over to our index.html. This is where the sidebar ends. Okay, so right after that, let's define div with the class name of videos, and this videos, it is going to have an h1 tag saying recommended. Okay, now this video section, it is going to have a videos container which is going to hold all of those videos. So let's define that with div with the videos container, and this videos container, it is going to contain each of those videos. Let's define a comment for this. This is where the single video starts. Let's turn this into comment, and this is where the single video ends. Let's also turn this into comment. So each single video, it is going to have a thumbnail and another section for videos title, videos details, right? So let's define those. So let's define each container for each video. that is div with the class name of video, singular. Okay, now let's define thumbnail. Let's say div with the class name of video thumbnail. This thumbnail is going to have a thumbnail of my own, one of my own video which I got from YouTube. So let's use that link. You can use any thumbnail. If you want, you can use this URL. Okay, now after that video thumbnail, let's define another div with the video details. Inside of this video details, we are going to have another div with the author, which is going to contain the image of that channel profile. So let's say image. You can use any of the image. So I will be using one of my own channel's profile image. All I will do is I will just copy paste this inside my project folder. Let's paste it over here. So I will be using my own image, that is profile.png. Let's save and check. Okay, don't worry, we are going to style this in a while. Okay, inside of this video details, we are also going to have a div with the title, class name of title. Inside of this title, we are going to have an h3 tag which is going to say the title of the video. In my case, it is going to have a title of my own video, that is top 5 programming languages to learn in 2021. If you haven't watched this video, please make sure that you have watched that video. And next, it is going to have a link. Let's define it like this: a link. It is not going to go anywhere. It is going to say my channel name, that is Future Coders. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to Future Coders. And it is also going to have a span tag, which is going to contain views and the time period it was uploaded. Now let's say we are not going to say anything, so just wait. Okay, for the time being, let's copy paste this bunch of these single videos. For now, let's copy paste 4 of these. Okay, now let's head over to styling these things. Okay, now let's make another comment over here. Okay, now let's target that video section, whole video section. Let's set the background color to a little bit grayish, that is this color. Let's set the width to 100%. Let's set the height to 100%. Let's say padding to 15 pixels and 25 pixels. And let's also say border top 1 pixels, solid, this one, and overflow to scroll. Let's save and check. Okay, now let's target that videos container which is holding all of those videos container. Let's display a flex direction to row. Let's say justify content space around, and flex wrap to wrap. Okay, now let's target a single video and let's set the width to 310 pixels, margin to the right to 10 pixels and margin to the bottom of 30 pixels. Let's save and check. Okay, now let's target that video thumbnail. Let's set the width to 100%. Let's set the height to 170 pixels. Okay, now it's time to target that image that is present inside the video thumbnail. So let's target this image. Object fit cover. Let's set the height to 100% and also set the width to 100%. Let's save and check. Okay, as you can see, we are correctly doing this. Okay, I think I have posted 4 of these, right? Let's check. Where did all of those go? 1 2 3 4. Yeah, 4 I have posted. Okay, let's continue styling. Okay, now let's target that profile image that is present inside the author. Let's also set the object fit to cover. Let's set the border radius to 50%. Let's set the height to 40 pixels and let's also set width to 40 pixels. Let's also set margin right 10 pixels. Let's save. As you can see, now it is correctly coming up. So now let's target those video details that is containing all of these things. Let's target that video details. Now let's say display of flex. Let's save and check. Okay, now let's set the margin to the top to 10 pixels. Let's save and check. Okay, now let's target that title which is containing this title of my video, link and this span tag. Let's target that. It is going to say display of flex and flex direction to column. Let's save. Okay, now let's target that h3 that is present inside this title. h3. Let's set the color to RGB. This color 3. That is line. Let's set the line height to 18 pixels. Sorry, this should be 18 pixels. Let's set the font size to 14 pixels and margin bottom to 6 pixels. Okay, now let's target the link tag that is present inside that title. Let's also target these span tags. These are using span tags, right? Let's also target those. Let's say text decoration to none. Let's set the color to little bit grayish, that is 96. Let's also set the font size to 14 pixels. Let's save and check. Okay, let's check this with our final version. Okay, now we also need to target this recommended, which is not looking nice. That is the h1 tag, right? Okay, let's target that h1 tag. h1 tag. Let's set the font size to 20 pixels. Let's set the margin bottom to 10 pixels. Let's set the color to the same color that we used for the h3, this one. Now let's save and check. Okay, this almost looks similar to our final version, right? Okay, now let's paste bunch of this and check. Let's copy these, all of these things. Let's paste them 2 more times. Okay, now let's save, check. As you can see, we have successfully completed the YouTube clone. That's it guys for this video. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you learned something in this video. Please make sure you hit that like button. Please make sure that you subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. Thank you.